And we're going to allow some fan questions now, and someone's asking when your next match is.
So my next match is probably not until the beginning of February, and I think it's at Viking Arms.
Okay.
Yeah, Viking Arms in Norway. Yeah, there might be something before that, but I'm doing some work with Jujumufu. I think it'll probably just be fun, but yeah, probably Norway.
Someone says they want to see you versus Vitaly.
Vitaly.
Okay.
So do I. To me, Vitaly Lalatin is really he's so good. He's like the future of Russian arm wrestling. I've been watching this guy forever. Had a chance to meet him. He's everything he's been cracked up to be. Super tall, like 6'9". Yeah, I definitely got to pull that guy. I'd rather pull him right hand, to tell you the truth, right now. But yeah, it's a match that has to happen, like now.
Now, I don't know if this is a guy being stupid or a real question, but why are priests from Finland so good at Mortal Kombat?
Let me see. Why are priests from Finland so good at Mortal Kombat? Who's messing with me? Because I love Mortal Kombat.
Blue Drum Torso. That's his YouTube name. It must be someone that must know.
Yeah, maybe something is messing with me because I love Mortal Kombat.
And you answered this in the last interview, but someone's asking you about Over the Top. You don't have to go into detail if someone wants to look it up.
Over the Top. Yeah. We got to get more movies. Well, they just had a new movie, Champion. There's a Korean movie that just got released. Yeah, so we got another arm wrestling movie out there.
And the same Beast Mode McGee guy is asking you about your thoughts on the upcoming Badgent versus C. Plankov. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you. Short answer, Dennis will win. That's the short answer. Nothing's impossible. Travis can win. Travis has got a great shot. The problem really will be whose house. Okay, if it's with any kind of restrictive rules, there's no chance. There's just no chance. I love Travis as an arm wrestler. I love what he can do, but in my opinion, the strength differential is so great. Like I've had a lot of experience with Travis. I've arm wrestled him a lot of times, a lot of different ways, and I know that if Travis holds me, Travis's left is a little bit better than my left most of the time. But I know that if he holds me and lets me work, I'll overcome him within a short period of time. I've never felt the kind of horsepower that Dennis has. Even if Travis blows through his hand, it's going to go to the strap. When it goes to strap, even if Travis takes his wrist, I just don't see that elbow and shoulder becoming unlodged. I just don't see it. The only way that Travis has a shot is if he gets the match to be somewhere like a Game of Arms type scenario where he's able to really, but even then I worry about him. Like, if I had $1,000, I'd put it on Dennis.
And when are we going to see you pull Dennis again?
When I'm ready. And that will be, in my mind, it's going to take me a good year of implementing everything that I've learned. And I want him right hand before left. Like, I want to do it right hand. I felt him left. Like I said, Dennis is my Everest, and I really, I'll climb that thing or die trying.
Do you do autograph conventions? And if not, where can people get your autograph if they're interested?
I'd say the best way is come to one of the shows. World Arm Wrestling League is going to do a full season. It'll be all across the States and international, or just jump into one of the events that I'm on. I kind of push everything. out on my social media, so I travel around.
Did you ever kill anyone when you were overseas in the military?
Oh my God, let me tell you. I think that the best thing for me to do is to say that it was a real honor to serve my country. And yeah, let's just leave it at that.
I guess the Mortal Kombat guy says finish hymns is the reason why they're great. At Mortal Kombat, the priests, I guess. That was the inside joke on
I
it.
get it. That's smart.
Someone says spectacular belt behind you. Another guy, I want to see you win so bad against C. Plenkov, but do you believe that if you had trained heavier and brought more fire like WAL 17, you would have won?
I think that for me to beat Dennis, I have to be in perfect physical and mental condition. I think that the key for me to beat Dennis is I have to have one area. Well, actually, I have to have two things. I don't want to give away too much, but I did get a lot from the encounter. I have to be, for me to do it under those rule systems is more difficult for me. I would love to do it in a more neutral kind of ground in terms of in terms of league format. I'm going to need a spot that's super hard, and I'm going to need to also be able to do a lot of range in my movements and have a sticking spot at the end of them. I'm going to have to use my length more against him. But the main thing that I have to do for the next year is just work my strength. Like very simply, just work a simple periodization program and get my horsepower up in the moves that are going to make the match stop. Yeah.
Thoughts on Scott Mendelssohn and his ascent to the top of arm wrestling?
Scott Mendelssohn, here's what I really like Scott. Scott's a personal friend of mine now. He's come up and visited me a few times, and I really like him. Really smart guy. I feel like arm wrestling is a very difficult sport to get very good in, and I feel like you need to. It's really hard when you're awesome at one sport, and like when I say awesome, like if you're like a world champion, legend like Scott, you have got a lot of damage in your body. And now to take that and to now move into arm wrestling, where in the process of becoming a world champion in this sport, you're gonna accumulate like equal damage to that. It's a very hard road. What I would love to see Scott do is be kind of the guy at the gate of the castle to all these other strength athletes who are great, who want to come in, like the strongmen, the powerlifters. I would love to see a super match between Eddie Hall and Scott. You know, to me that's interesting. I know how difficult it's going to be for Scott to become like the world champion of arm wrestling. It's going to be hard, but I would love to see him pull like super strong dudes who are also trying to make that journey over.
Do you think if Oleg recovers, you might do a rematch with him?
Yeah, for sure that'll happen. I hope. I heard he's healing up and things are starting to move forward for him. That kid is blessed with some amazing genetics, and he's still young. So you know, he's turned his physical limitations into a gift before. So you know, hopefully he can get back on the horse and do the same thing with this terrible accident.
What are your thoughts on UFC? Someone's asking.
I hope we can copy them. I hope that arm wrestling in 5 years is the next UFC. I feel like we are the next breakout sport that's probably gonna follow a similar path. Yeah.
What music do you like to listen to get pumped up?
Ramstein. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to close off the fan question portion now and get back into the regular questions. When you think of guys like Michael Todd with his bone lock or joint locked arms, and does it give an unfair advantage?
I don't think it. I personally don't think it does, because if somebody asked me, "Hey, do you want an arm that doesn't straighten?" I'd say no, because you're going to get more inflammation. You're going to get a reduced range of motion, which is going to in turn lead to a decrease in strength. So for every advantage that it gives you, there's also a disadvantage. And I feel like if you're on that podium, if you're on that stage, it's because you've battled for a long time. Like, and I think that to knock anybody for any specific thing, I mean, you can knock somebody for anything. Oh, that guy's tall, that guy's muscles are too big, that guy's hands are too big, that guy's arm doesn't straighten. There's a way around everything.
What was the most satisfying victory of your arm wrestling career? We know what's going to be.
Yeah, that's right. If we can talk about the future, it's when I climb Everest. It's not always the ones that you think. You know, it actually, for me, when I look back on my arm wrestling career, there's been a lot of them that have meant a lot to me, but one that was huge for me was when I beat Ron Bath in 6 or 7 at the Mike Gould Classic. It was, for me, a really massive deal because I had done very well in Canada. I was like recognized in Canada as being the #1 guy, and Ron Bath was like a legend. You know, everybody knew Ron Bath and how legitimate he was. And I had just done a 6-month combat tour where I was like a total flake coming back, and the timing of it, the relevance of it for me was massive. Like when I beat Ron Bath, I felt like it completely changed me as a human being.
Is X-Arm still going on, and would you ever compete yourself in that bizarre mix of arm wrestling and fighting?
Oh man, I love X-Arm. I love to watch